Squid Game, the South Korean Netflix series, has taken the world by storm, and it's not hard to see why. Something about mixing violence with child's play captivated audiences to the point that it has been watched and rewatched by millions. While the story was intriguing, nerve-wracking, and unpredictable, it was the complex and unforgettable main characters that held the attention of everyone that watched. We all had our favorites. Some characters were easy to love, some were not hard to despise, and some had fans split right through the middle. In this video, we will be going through the 5 of the most hated and 5 of the most loved Squid Game characters. We'll see which ones we can agree on, and which ones you will have my neck for. Now let us count down the most hated Squid Game characters. Number 5. Hwang Junhoe, hated. When we were introduced to the front man, the man with the cool mask, many of us didn't know what to feel about him. Sure, he was in charge of all the games, but he seemed so distant that no one expected him to be developed into a full character. We would later learn that his name is Inho, and he is the missing brother of the Junhoe, the policeman who infiltrated the island where the games were holding. We might not have hated him if he did not shoot his brother in cold blood, proving to us where his priorities lie, with the games, not his family. Number 4. Mineio, hated. No one likes a Karen. So it wasn't too hard for the viewers to turn against the loud, insecure, and obnoxious Mineio, who ticked every box in the Karen list. Her superpower in the show was manipulation, and she wasn't scared of crossing carpets as long as she was in a team that she felt could win. Unsurprisingly, she loses the trust of the players and the respect of the audience, especially when she is abandoned in the 4th game by everyone. However, she has a sacrificial redemption arc that saves every other character from certain death when she once again manipulates Deoxy, who had used her and dumped her in earlier episodes. She takes her revenge on him by hugging him and pulling him from a platform, forcing him to commit suicide with her. Number 3. Deoxy, hated. Deoxy is the archetypal gangster who enjoys bullying others to feel superior. He is responsible for some of the most horrific actions in Squid Game, including starting a riot that killed several players. His only strategy to stay alive is to use others and put them in harm's way. If we disagree on everything else, we can at least agree that we all hated Deoxy. From the time we meet him in the beginning right until the very end, he stays consistent as a bully who will hurt people to have his way. Sometimes just for the fun of it. He was interested in only one thing: staying alive. The first night of killing amongst participants in the game was spearheaded by him. In the 5th game, he raised the stakes of the game when he started pushing people to their death. However, we're introduced to the fearful and broken parts of him when, in the last minutes, he refuses to move, which would have meant the death of everyone in the game. Thankfully, Mineio finishes the job. Number 2. Senwu, hated. This was one of the most polarizing characters in Squid Game. Some people loved and some were just happy he died. In fact, your love or hate for him could be an indication of where your values lie. Senwu is an intelligent and funny man who was more tactical than most of the other players. In the early episodes, we noticed this when he doesn't tell Jihun that he knows the first game. He is selfish and yet he is kind. However, his kindness is rooted in selfish interest, and the most annoying character trait he has is his willingness to betray anyone without a moment's thought just to stay ahead. He betrays Jihun when he lets him pick an umbrella in the 2nd game and when he tricked Ali in the 4th game. That is where he lost most of the characters that sympathized with him. Still, some fans have argued that he had so much at stake, and that is why he did what he did. Number 1. Illnam, hated. If you aren't done with the series yet, then this choice might shock you. When we first meet player 001, he is the old man who plays the terrifying red light, green light game with a smile on his face. Fans immediately loved him. We loved him more when we found out he has a tumor in his brain, and when the adorable Jihun started getting closer to him. In the tug-of-war game, he helps them survive through tact and strategy, and when the 4th game comes, he sacrifices himself for Jihun in one of the saddest scenes in the show, or did he? The final episode not only blew our minds, but it also upset our spirits when we find out that the lovable Illnam is actually the mastermind behind the entire game. He is the host. His reasons for joining the game make sense, but it doesn't justify his actions to sacrifice people's lives. He manipulated us. In a mind-blowing twist in the last episode, it's revealed that Illnam is the smartest character in Squid Game. He's the mastermind behind the violent competition who just wanted to join in so he could feel alive again. Any sympathy viewers felt for him likely vanished at this point, as he manipulated both players and audiences into thinking he was just another defenseless victim of the VIP. He manipulated us, and he manipulated Jihun, and he will not be forgiven. That's it. Now let us count down the most loved Squid Game characters. Number 5. Hwang Junhoe, loved. Handsome, driven, and fiercely protective of his family, Hwang Junhoe is every woman's dream. The fearless cop infiltrates the Squid Game island all in a bid to find his missing brother. When he finds his missing brother, it is not the resolution anyone would wish on a character like his. It turns out that his brother is the front man. Junhoe dies at the hands of his brother in one of the most devastating scenes. All of his hard work and toiling was just useless, and fans grieved his pointless death. Number 4. Jae Yeon, loved. Jae Yeon was introduced late in the series. Moments before the tug-of-war game, she is recruited by the distant Sae Byok. She is a little annoying, very nonchalant, and has very little filters when it comes to expressing her opinions. No one expected that she would become such a loved character by the next game, but she does. In the 4th game that required paired players to indirectly kill the other, Jae Yeon leads us on a well-deserved and heartbreaking exposition of her background to Sae Byok. She was jailed after she killed her father for murdering her mother. It's one of those heart-wrenching scenes that melted our hearts and opened Sae Byok like a flower. She ends up sacrificing herself for Sae Byok, teaching her unconditional love and bringing the character and ourselves to tears. In her last moments, she calls out in hurt excitement before a bullet rips through her skull. Number 3. King Sae Byok, loved. As a North Korean defector, Sae Byok has learned to rely on nobody else except herself to survive the toughest situations. However, throughout the course of the competition, she learns to trust others like Jihun, Senwu, and Ali. She eventually becomes more vulnerable, even opening up about her family and aspirations to Jae Yeon in the 4th game. Sae Byok learned to trust no one in her life. She ran away from North Korea and had been looking over her shoulder ever since. Her survival instincts has helped her survive hellish situations in the past, especially with the bully, Deoxy. We see that instincts shine when she doesn't allow herself get gassed the second time she accepts the invite for the Squid Game. Despite her brilliance, fans could see how broken and in need of a hug she was. Gradually, she learns to trust Senwu, Jihun, and Ali. She then opens up about her past for the first time in the final moments of Jae Yeon's life. Her only devotion is her brother, whom she promises to rescue from an orphanage home. When she does in the final moments of the series, it is completely devastating. Number 2. Jihun, loved. Jihun is the center of the show, the winner of the game, and the imperfect protagonist. We're introduced to him as a flawed father and an obsessive gambler who still lives with his mother. His pitiful life is made worse when his ex-wife makes plans to relocate with his daughter to America, and when he realizes his mother is battling with a life-threatening disease. He is one of those characters that are easy to love and root for. We root for him through every game he survives through wit and sheer luck. We root for him when he has to face Senwu in the final moments of the game. We love him even more when he decides to spare his life, which would mean forfeiting the prize money. His character growth is one of the most complete in the series, and when he leaves the game, having won, he has become braver, more confident, and more broken. Number 1. Abdul Ali, loved. Everyone loved Ali. This is not a negotiation. This is a fact. From the very first game, we are introduced to this kind man who with 3 fingers on his hands saved Jihun from certain death in red light, green light. All the man wants is to save his family from poverty and lead a better life. He is loyal to a fault, so kind-hearted, and so determined to ensure that his friend's life that it becomes his undoing. Senwu takes advantage of that kindness and tricks him into giving up his marbles in the 4th game. In the final moments, when he realizes the stones that Senwu replaced for his marbles, our hearts tear up into 1,000 pieces as we see the look of confusion, betrayal, and sadness in his misty eyes. And with that, we're done with the countdown. Which one do you agree with? Which one do you disagree with completely? And which Squid Game character do you think we missed? Tell us in the comments. Also, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe to our channel and hit that notification button to stay updated on the latest countdowns. Till next time, bye.